Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. I've got a 3 versus 3 for you today. It is on the map White Fire, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, but we'll go ahead and brush up on it. It is a mostly naval map. 3 positions. We have a front and 2 rears. Traditionally, this will go Navy. This will be the aggressive posture, and this guy will go a mix of Navy. Air is kind of shared up between the 2 back players, so you never really know what will happen. There's a variety of strategies that will work on this map because you have a significant amount of early reclaim. Some Tech 2 wrecks, Tech 1, 2 Tech 3 naval factories, tons of mass to be had to do pretty much whatever you want with it. So, whether we see a comm drop, torp bombers, Navy, whatever happens here, this ought to be an enjoyable game. Let's go ahead and introduce the teams. We will jump straight into it. We've got Butcher going Aeon in the southern team's rear, Chomsky going Cyber in front, and Yoda going Seraphim on the right hand side. Cybern is kind of an odd choice for the front slot. Normally you will get a hover faction so that you can use that early aggression. Interesting choice, the engineer here. We've got 2 separate engineers from both of these players queued up to go all the way across the bay and reclaim the other team's mass. So kind of interesting. We'll have to keep an eye on those guys and see if they're successful. On the northern side, we have DD894. He is going Aeon on the left, a Cybern front photograph, and another Aeon on the right. That is T Goods 44. Alright, let's go ahead and bump up the speed and we will see where the game takes us. We got a land scout, the ever helpful hover scout for the Aeon faction that is going to camp out right in the center there to get a preview of anything headed across. We've got an early bomber for Yoda that is going to head northwards and hopefully kill off some engineers, I would think. There's a move order queued right there. Going to get within range and see what's happening. Going to go pick off that engineer, deny the hydro. Very nicely done. Swing back around, get another engineer kill, and he needs to land a bomb right there. That's going to be 5-4. Oh, spreading the engineers out, clean dodge, and nice anti-air. Well done. And then we had some mass grab. We're going to have a reclaim war, surviving with 2 health to continue to reclaim the factory. That is phenomenal. Well done by Chomsky, but unfortunately he's going to lose his engineer right there. But they did steal about 1/3 of the mass out of that wreck. Very, very beautifully done. Got another engineer right here from this player. He is going to steal even more mass. Trying to see how much of that bar is left. It's hard to see against the black. They got like 75% of that. That was amazingly done. Well done by the southern team. We have Cybern frigates in the water, the ever nasty OP Cybern frigates with their good anti-air and very, very nice stats all the way around. That's going to pull some harassment on the shore. Better stay away from the ACU. Do not want to lose that to an overcharge. Bomber's finally going to be shot down there, and we've got a drop headed up. The southern team is really taking the cake in aggression here. We've got a sub coming out to cover this frigate that is going to do very nicely against that. And that was actually... he dropped before the... I think that was loaded and it got shot down. Alright, but we do still have artillery coming across. Thankfully, there is a frigate right there that will be able to pick off those artillery before they come up on the shore. And on the southern side, we now have 2 subs and 2 frigates out, so that is going to very handily overwhelm the northern team's Navy, which there is not much. We've got a Tech 2 factory upgrade going without securing Tech 1 control first. That may come back to bite them. I am not sure. It depends on whether the southern team decides to come up here and kill off the build power, but it does look like the Navy is going to go around the right-hand side. Got a Cybern ACU with the torp upgrade walking out into the water. That torp upgrade is ridiculously strong in the early game. It can pretty much wipe out an infinite amount of Tech 1 units. I say infinite, but please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. versus Tech 1 Navy, it is so incredibly difficult to kill a Cybern Torp commander that it's not really worth going after it. And even in the Tech 2 Naval world, the Cybern Torp com packs in so much damage on such a huge range. You can see the range here is just gargantuan. It's phenomenal how strong the thing is. That is a very good strategy on this map. And then we also have a sub hunter out for T Goods. That is going to be a Tech 2 naval presence. We've got sub hunters coming out on the left side as well. Of course, the Cybern sub hunters are going to be a little better than the Aeon because they have stealth. That is going to plink away at the sonar system, going to remove the vision that the Southern team has, and then start harassing this Navy. Going to move back over to the right now. That torpedo commander is pretty much wiped out most of the Navy that the other team has. That is such a strong tool. Now we've got some Tech 2 gunships moving up. There are, as of yet, no cruisers, and the Southern team is in control of the air. Yoda is doing a phenomenal job of harassing and also covering the rest of his team. He is doing everything and doing it right. Building up Arty as well. I imagine that with this Tech 2 Air Factory, yes, he is building transports. He's going to start pulling Arty drops. Looks like the Northern team has secured the Navy. They have not forced the Southern team out of the water, but they do have a matching force of Navy plus the torpedo comm, and now we have a second destroyer pulling up from the back. So overall, they're in a very good position Navy-wise. Got the Mermaid coming out. That's going to help with stealth and torpedo defense. And then we've got another Exodus headed out. That is going to completely overwhelm what is left of the Southern side's naval force. And now we're going to start taking fire on this base down here. Question is, can Yoda make up the difference with his Arty drops? He is building more transports. He's already got one completely loaded with artillery. I'm going to lose one Exodus there. The might of the Cybern Salem, I would say, is not, well, in some ways it's weaker, in some ways it's stronger than the Exodus. The Exodus undeniably has better torpedo weapons, and it has more health, and it has more damage. Problem is, the shot is so easy to dodge. With minimal effort in micro, you can basically render an Exodus useless. They're more powerful in bigger numbers, but in smaller numbers, forget about it. Alright, here comes the drops. We've got two completely loaded down Tech 2 transports. That's going to be a pile of artillery. That is 28 in total, 14 per transport. And those are going to start moving over. The ACU's coming over to help. Unfortunately, there's no tanks online. Mantis producing now. Those are just going to steamroll everything. Build power going down left and right. They're up in the power spam now. The destroyers are coming in to try and help. For some reason, the Tech 2 gunships are still hovering around, firing at the ACU with their abominable, like, 2 damage per second. I don't remember how much those have, actually. And cruiser coming in, going to wipe out both of them. Now that cruiser's on the map, it's going to make it a little more difficult to drop. You're going to have to circumvent the cruiser and anti-air fire of anything else that they build on the map. And I assume that once you've been dropped the first time, you're going to build some mobile flak or something to try to take out the second round, but the team may not do so. We'll have to see how well they react. Now we've got to build up. We have 1 Salem and 4 Exodus class. That is a very nice Navy as long as they can group it together and then pair it with that torpedo commander, and that is brutal Tech 2 naval force. The Southern team does have a lot of units, but I don't think that they can match up. We've got 3-4 Exodus and 2-3 Salems. They would be even, but for that torpedo commander. That torpedo commander is going to be the deciding factor in that engagement. And you'll notice that the Northern team is being very smart about it and keeping their units up around the commander. Now, one thing I would say, if I were these guys, I would be getting a bunch of torpedo bombers up and try to snipe that ACU while it's in the water. That is entirely doable, and he is currently in the middle of an upgrade. Actually, he has his head out of the water, so you could hit him with regular bombers as well. They really need to do something to push that commander out of the water. Otherwise, their naval situation is hopeless. And on Whitefire, Navy is huge, as I'm sure you can see, being as the map is completely divided by water. Alright, I like this wall section segment down here that Butcher has. Very nicely done. Excellent drop and harassment denial tool. Take a peek at these naval units. I always like how naval units look, except for the Exodus class's explosion. You can see how it has that little square, and when you look at it from the top, it looks fine. That is because when you zoom to the side, someone explained it to me one time. I think the visual is designed to look correct from the top down, but when you look at it from the side, it has gray space in it just because of how it is. Alright, we've got a strap bomber that is out for T goods. And not a Tech 2, not a Tech 3 air factory anywhere else. So we've actually got a group of ASF and a strap bomber for T goods. Where did the strap bomber go? Did it off map or did it die or where is it? Cannot decide. The ACU has moved forward. It is a Tech 3 torpedo ACU. I don't think he has stealth. That is going to start building harms and pushing across. There's a strap bomber right there. Going to immediately start bombing out the Tech 2 power. Yes, it does have stealth, so that is a nasty commander indeed. Alright, ASF have the Southern team completely airlocked. They are totally helpless. No Tech 3 engineering suite, so no SAMs in the works. Strictly Tech 1 anti-air, so that strap bomber is going to get a lot of passes. That is going to cause tons of damage. And then right here, I think we're about to see the naval defeat of the Southern team. We've got a harm, 2 harms, an ACU in the water, and a whole bunch of Exoduses. The only problem with this situation is the hover spam. Exodus cannot handle hover spam. You have to have frigates to back it up, and the Northern team doesn't have frigates. Why would you do such a thing? You need to get your frigates online, and he's still building Exodus, building a battleship. What is wrong with you people? There's a frigate, finally. 2 frigates coming out, but 2 frigates is not going to be enough. Got to get some kind of hover or frigate solution online and quickly, because this is setting up to be a massive hover spam down here, still laying down factories. And you're not going to kill hover with Exodus class. Alright, there's an ACU in the water. That is Chomsky, who also has the Tech 3 upgrade and is trying to get some harms in the water to counter. He does have stealth. He does have the torpedo upgrade. This is a war between the Cybern commanders. Both of them have identical upgrades, and they're trying to get a foothold one over the other. The Northern team has a battleship and more destroyers, but the Southern team has the hover spam and their own battleship online. Chomsky has gotten battleships in the water. 139 eco for him versus 99 eco for Photograph. So we're going to have to see who wins this out. Looks like we've got harms dropping for Photograph. One is already dead. Are we seeing ground fire? No, focus firing the battleship to get rid of that. Got to get some ground fire solutions online from either these artillery or the battleship. Either one will work, and there it is. We've got ground fire from the artillery on those harms. The ground fire is going to eliminate them, and that is going to slowly give the advantage back to the Southern team. That was an excellent pull. I really thought that the Southern team had lost Navy, but Chomsky pulled that out at the last second with the help of Yoda. The combination of the hover spam with the harms and then throw that battleship on top of it, and the Southern team is going to turn a very terrible situation into an advantage because they have the reclaim field. Naval reclaim is a huge deciding factor in games. You can see these swarms of engineers are already coming out to start manually reclaiming. That is the death knell for the Northern team. When you lose that big of a pile of reclaim, bad things are in your future. You do not have long to be in the water. Alright, Yoda has a significant force of ASF. He's going to move up here. What is this? We almost have a Caesar. I keep saying Caesar and people keep correcting me. It is Czar. Goods almost has a Tsar online. Let's go ahead and check around. We got Tech 3 Air, Tech 3 Air, Tech 3 Navy, no Tech 4s online or planned as of yet. And I don't see a nuke launcher. Hopefully I'm not overlooking one. Alright, Tsar is on the way. We've got a pile of torpedo bombers coming across. Those are probably going to be centered on Photograph's commander. No, they're not. They're going after the Tempest. My bad. I overlooked that, folks. Gonna shred a third of the health off that in one pass. Coming back around. Oh, my good lord. That is a lot of torpedo bombers. Decided to go after the ACU instead. The Tsar has been pulled to the back to start ASF production. ACU is going to get onto land with health to spare. Torpedo bombers are going to refocus on Photograph. I believe he is also going to make it to shore. But there is now an intense battle group of 4 Exodus, 4 Cybran battleships, and hover spam galore from, that is Yoda. Alright, Orange ACU is going to dive into the water now. They apparently decided that taking turns stepping foot in the water was a good idea. Ow, my funny bone. That hurt. That should teach me for reaching across the desk for my phone in the middle of a cast. Alright. My goodness. This is some hectic duking out in the center. I'm not sure how to describe this. This just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. But through it all, I think the Southern team is maintaining their ground and gaining little by little. And you say, well, Brink, it doesn't look like they're gaining. What I'm looking at is we have a Tempest versus 4 battleships, harms in the water for the Southern team but not for the Northern team, and the hover spam from Yoda. Now there is starting to be hover spam from Goods as well, and I think that may start to change the course of this battle. Those hover tanks are very powerful against battleships because battleships suck at killing them. Additionally, we have Tech 2 stationary artillery coming up here. Yes, it is Cybran Tech 2 artillery, but it is artillery nonetheless, and it will start laying down some good fire. But lo and behold, we have a Tempest in the works for the Southern team, and then some covering by Torp bombers. That Tempest has come back out to play, and the Torp bombers are going to get one pass at it before the cruisers shred them to pieces. Looks, oh, that's a support commander. I'm sorry, that was not actually the ACU that was coming across there. Okay, that Tempest is not looking healthy at all. Interesting fact, Tempest will always lose to 2 battleships of any faction. Tempest suck mass for mass versus battleships, but the combination of their range and area of effect make them very good at, as naval bombardment tools. And if you get 2 or 3 or 4 of them up in numbers, they do overwhelm Navy easily. And we're going to see that Tempest combined with the battleships down here was able to drop the Northern team Tempest. And we have a Soul Ripper on the southern side covered by a sizable amount of ASF. At the moment, I believe the Northern team actually has air control. Yoda has more than either one of these separately, but both of them together can easily overwhelm Yoda's force. This is going to come down to micro and the strategic use of that Soul Ripper as a draw to sucker punch the opposing air force. And now here's a critical mistake. Divide and conquer. Blue and orange were separated, and Yoda was able to do a significant amount of damage to Blue's air force. We may see that change coming up right here. Orange is in to help. We have the well-microed battle groups of Yoda and DD with Goods basically just hovering around the outside edge. I think Yoda would have won the micro battle, but the overwhelming numbers of 2 combined players are going to take out Yoda's entire air force. The Soul Ripper is now in jeopardy. There's ASF kind of hovering about it, and now the Soul Ripper has freedom to move about the map as it will because the Southern team does not have cruisers or ASF. That Tsar needs to go somewhere and do something. I'm going to have to train myself not to say Caesar. That is an old habit. Alright, strategic launcher is in place for the Northern team. We have strategic defense over here, and no strat defense for the center island. On the southern side, we have a strat launcher here that is very nearly loaded. No strat defense. And over here, we have no strat defense, but a whole lot of tac launchers for some strange reason. And Chomsky rebuilding his base. Alright, here comes the Tsar. This is going to be make or break. Can the southern team kill it? Do they have enough SAMs or cruisers or anti-air or something to kill this? We've got artillery breaking into the northern side, but unfortunately there are restorers there to cover. They're going to kill that quite efficiently. Tsar is going to rip through Butcher's base, picking up vet galore and shedding health as the enemy ASF attack it, but due to the cover and the vetting of the Tsar, that is going to survive handily and continue to rake across the landscape, brutally punishing that base. That is horrendous amounts of damage, and very nice skirting of the SAMs over here. However, the Soul Ripper is going to bait the ASF across the SAMs, and I think the ASF are going to get killed off long before they can kill the Soul Ripper. So no more complete and total air control for the northern team. But now they do have this 81,000 health Tsar, which is a very tough son of a gun indeed. It does have incredibly strong anti-air weapons. As far as single units go, a group of ASF will still easily take it down, but since the southern team does not have a concentrated grouping, it's going to be very difficult for a trickle of ASF to kill the thing off, if not nearly impossible. Here comes the strat launch. Is the defense loaded? No. Where is it headed? I would be aiming this at the air player because you want to kill off the person who owns that Tsar before irreparable damage is done. But it is going to head over towards the center. What is it going to kill? Photograph headed for the water. Is he going to be fast enough? Where exactly is the nuke headed? It is headed right there. No kill on the ACU, but obliterating every bit of the build power over here. The Tsar is going to get taken down by anti-air and ASF, but it did not kill the nuke with its drop. The nuke has survived to reload and fire again another day, and now air control will be won back by Yoda, I think, because the northern team has gone to ASF production and the southern team has started building cruisers. However, they're going to have to watch their placement of units because there's a group of restorers over here. Thankfully, there are some SAMs still online right here, but it is a question of whether or not they can stop that restorer group before it does damage to the nuke. SAMs ripping into the group of restorers. When they're clumped up like that, the area of effect is incredibly strong. Hover span coming across, that is going to be stopped by this nice group of Salems and frigates. Going to choose to go to the right, and of course the Salems are going to want to pursue that and try to knock it down. SACU toasted thanks to the torpedoes of this Tempest right here. It's going to submerge to try to escape some of the fire. It is back up on top and trying to lay down some fire on this other Tempest that belongs to the northern team. There are two Tempests in the hands of the northern team at the moment. Those things get stronger as the numbers go up in regards to single potential of the unit. And the strat launcher has taken some fire from these units, but I think it will be safe for now. Got an SACU trying to build torp launchers over here. Oh, that is nasty. Had a drop of some SACUs, or they were walked across. I did not even notice that. That is not good. Thankfully, the Soul Ripper is still barely alive, getting tailed by some guarding ASF that will try to keep it healthy. Soul Ripper going to start firing on those commanders. And kaboom! Problem solved. No severe damage done. The nuke was handed off to Chomsky for some reason. half loaded. I'm not sure why. That does restart the loading cycle. You do not want to do that. Yoda, did he have to leave? I think I saw something in the chat just a second ago. Got to leave. Well, that sucks. He still has a lot of units that are in his possession, although he did leave his ACU so that all the units stay alive and his team doesn't lose them. Alright, Tempest, 2 Tempests, and a battleship now moving into the southern team's side of the water. We still have a group of 5, 6 Cybran battleships, and the Soul Ripper is online, and there's no cruiser coverage from the north. That Soul Ripper is going to land some devastating hits. That was an attempt. Oh, Butcher. Was that a shot by the Tempest? I think it was. I think that was ground fire from the Tempest that killed him. I may be wrong about that, but I'm 90% sure that's what happened. Alright, Monkey Lord headed across for Chomsky. He does not want to land it right there. It will not work out for him, but it is headed in that direction. We've got these 2 Tempests over here. Thankfully, Chomsky was in the position that had all of the battleships, so he's not going to lose out on his battleship group. He does need to draw those back and kill this Tempest off ASAP, though, because that is going to kill him if he isn't careful. Alright, we have a GC from Double D. Whether or not that ends this game is yet to be seen. It is headed over to the right-hand side, probably as a counter to this Monkey Lord, which has been spotted. And yes, it is going to easily kill that Monkey Lord. That is a waste of mass. A nice, tied-up gift to the northern team. Here you go. Why not have 14k mass? The nuke is nearly loaded. Whether or not it can save the southern team is yet to be told. We have that nuke defense will not be loaded. We have no nuke defense on the center island, but it has already been nuked, so that is not a good target. And we have 2 loaded on the northern side, but there are 2 GCs headed towards the south. I think this may be it. May be it. I don't know. It's not entirely clear. I just don't see how Chomsky can pull this out. He looks like Yoda is back and he's building things, but he has let Chomsky keep his base, so the eco is going to Chomsky to load the nuke. I have to see how this plays out. Nuke is loaded. There's a GC coming on shore, sucking up units left and right. Nuke is gone. Where's it headed? Over to the left. If he can kill blue, the blue GC will go away, but unfortunately that is 1 more ACU down. Yoda's dead. The nuke launcher's dead. What is going to happen? Yeah, we have the nuke making a touchdown. Nuke defense and nuke are gone. The northern team no longer has a strategic weapon in its arsenal. That did not kill the ACU, so the units are still going to be a problem. Chomsky's throwing out the good game. I kind of tend to agree with him. We've got tons of gunships coming across. He's got nothing left, no eco. SACU's ravaging his base on the left side. GC on the right, air coming center. There's nowhere left to go, and he is going to remain a trooper and stay in the game for the kill. He may be walking in. No, there's torp bombers. What you gonna do? Start an upgrade. What upgrade is that? I know not. Was not gun, that's for sure. And the battleships go down under the barrage of Tech 2 gunship fire. Interesting note. Tech 2 gunships are far more mass efficient than restorers for ground damage. If you're strictly going for ground damage and you already have air control, it is much better to build Tech 2 gunships than Tech 3 damage-wise. Alright, that was a fantastic game. There was so much that happened in that. Excellent naval play from both sides. Good build orders from both sides. Awesome T4 usage. just everything that you could possibly want from a game in Supreme Commander was in here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know I enjoyed watching it. It's not often that I get good games on maps other than, you know, the normal team game maps, basically Canis, Wonder, and Settons for the majority of it. But this was a great one. Thanks to Chomsky for sending that in. Alrighty guys, that's going to wrap it up for me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.